Hello everyone, Prime here, and today we're going to be covering Sol and her brother Mani. Now, technically even that pronunciation of her name might not necessarily be correct. Apparently you're supposed to pronounce her name Sol, or more like Sol rather than Sol. But there you go, that is actually a thing. And some variations of her name are Sol with an accent sign and Suna. Now, a little confused about the other variation of her name, Suna, because Suna is also the name of her daughter. We'll get into more about her daughter later. Now, her brother, Mani, you can say it Mani, that's fine, and another variation of his name is Mani with an accent sign and Main. I'm not sure if that's still pronounced Mani, but it's written Main, so let's just go with that. Now, both of their purposes in Norse mythology are to pull chariots across the sky, which also pull across the sky the sun and the moon. Sol pulls the sun across the sky, and Mani pulls across the moon. As I said, Sol has a daughter. She marries Glenna. Svalin rides in Sol's chariot and protects the earth from the sun's scorching rays with a shield. Were it not for Svalin doing this, the sun might actually seriously damage the earth. So, good job on his part. In Mani's chariot, a mortal girl named Bill rides along with him. And this is actually quite a nice story, because Mani saved Bill and her brother, Hujuki, by bringing them into Asgard whilst they were collecting pails of water. This is actually the origins of the story Jack and Jill. You know, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. You know how the rest of that goes. Hopefully you've heard that before, so that's where actually that comes from. Now, unlike Sol and Mani, who in variations of their stories, they were beings who weren't immortal, who become actual gods, Bill and her brother are actually beings who were brought up to godly status by eating the apples of Idun, and therefore they maintain their youthly appearances and they don't seem to age. They're not considered to be on the same level as all the other gods, which is interesting to note there. Mani rescuing these two children, they're probably the most famous examples of the children that Mani would rescue, but he was known to rescue just several children who were being abused or just in trouble, generally. The reason as to why Mani actually took them from their father is implied that perhaps they weren't in the best living conditions. Whether the father was abusive or there were issues along those lines, not too sure, not sure specifically if he was actually a bad person or if it was just hard times and it was better if Mani simply just saved the children by taking them with him to Asgard, but either way, they live in Asgard with Mani. And Bill goes along with Mani on his rounds when he's pulling the moon across the sky. The siblings have two origin stories. In the first, Mundulfari was either a human or a giant with two remarkably beautiful children. The girl was named Sol, after the sun, and the boy, Mani, after the moon. A spark in Muspelheim became the sun, and the sun and the moon were both attached to chariots, but the chariots had no charioteers. However, the gods were angered by the sheer arrogance of this mere human or giant that had named his children after the sun and the moon, and so as punishment, the gods took away his children, gave them godly status, and had them ride in the chariots of the moon and the sun. Because of this, Sol and Mani personify the moon and the sun. Fenrir, through either his own mother Angerboda or the giant Hirokin, fathered two wolven sons of his own, Skull, one who mocks, and Hati, one who hates. They remained incredibly loyal to Fenrir after he was bound, and would just stay by him and guard the spot where he was bound. But the gods didn't trust the two wolves to remain where they were and behave, or they would worry that they may become a danger, and so by one method or another, the Skull and Hati were made to chase Sol and Mani's chariots across the sky. And come Ragnarok, the two wolves take the chariots and consume Sol and Mani. Yes, Bill is also put out of action, shall we say, because of this. However, once everything is reborn, Suna resumes her mother's role, so that just harpens back to the fact that Norse mythology is very cyclical. Nothing quite lasts forever in Norse mythology. Now, the thing about this backstory for Sol is it's said that it's not quite correct, and it clashes with a lot of other source material for Norse mythology. People who agree with this say that there just really isn't that much known about Sol and Mani, But their other origin myth, the one that these people believe to be the true one, says that the twins were among the first beings to come into existence, but they did not know exactly what their purpose was. The gods gave them a purpose by having them mount the chariots of the sun and the moon. Their father is still mentioned or referenced. Whether or not he was actually giant, human, or god seems to be a bit more ambiguous. It's not quite stated there. So not much more is known about him other than his name in that case, and that he was the parent of these two beings, or he's connected to them in some way. In old Germanic mythology, Willow is the male sun god that Sol's name actually originates from, so that's kind of cool. And her day is Sunday. So, you know, certain other gods have days named after them, such as Thursday being Thor's day, or Tuesday being Tyr's day. Of course, not every god can have a day, but there you go. Now, Sol and Mani actually do have another sibling. Her name is Synthgunt. She is a goddess of the flow of time and the cosmos and the power of black holes. She's a healer, a magician, and also seems to be a lot more free than her siblings, but also she is someone who very little is known about, and there's not that much solid references as far as like her stories, her general actions, and things like that. So that's pretty much all I can say about her. I don't even know if she survived Ragnarok. Though, to be fair, I'm not sure if Sol's father survived Ragnarok, so that's a thing. But yeah, that'll do it for the video. I hope that you enjoyed this one, found out something new. If you did, go ahead and leave a like, and of course subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Now, if there's a god that you want me to cover, there are several suggestions already. From Guan Yu, Zeus, Poseidon, to Barkazora. None of those gods interest you, feel free to leave a suggestion in the comment section below and vote in the polls, most importantly, so to help choose which god I'll be covering next. Now, one of these days you might find that I ignore the current roster and do either a Slavic god, a voodoo god, or Zeus. Now, the only reason why I'm going to ignore it outright do Zeus is because it's been pointed out to me recently that Zeus was requested all the way back in August of last year, and I still haven't done it yet. I kind of feel bad about that, a bit, slightly. So, yeah, I might just cover Zeus sooner or later, just randomly. So yeah, and until the next video, have a very good day. I've been Prime, and I'll see you in a few. Bye bye.